everybody, I'm Tommy. What's happening? I am on the couch. You are on the love boat, the lifeboat. You're on a boat. What's happening, people? This is a From the Hip. It's Saturday in the afternoon down here in Ecuador. It's a little bit after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Unusual time for me to go, but this is one that I wanted to go live with. I don't know if you saw yesterday's show. Hey, Relatable Reese, good to see you. How are you? Chase the Heat's good. I'm glad that you are here, Johnny Scoville, because I'm going to put you on blast. So you need to stick around. I don't know if you saw yesterday's show. I did a show where I was kind of recapping a lot of the things that I had been talking about. And the kind of content that I do is different than the content that a lot of other people do. It requires me doing research. It requires me, hey, Renee B, holy crap, you're on time. I mean, Renee B, as always, right on time. Glad that you are here. Jamie Palmer, what's happening? Out walking through town, going to one of the antique stores, but I'll be lurking. Oh, I'm jealous. I don't get to do nearly as much going to antiques and thrift stores as I used to do. Used to hunt down a lot of watches that way in the U.S. Loved going to thrift stores. I used to do it a lot with Quibs, but I did it a lot with a lot of people. Really loved doing that. I had an old partner I used to do it with just on a daily basis. We would hit about 10 stores and constantly be going through. Have a good time, Jamie Palmer. I love that. So it requires me doing a lot of research, right? I've obviously done a lot of research into Diddy. There aren't a lot of people out there that study that case as much as I did. I've been studying the football coach. I almost called him the P word 2 minutes in. That would have got me demonetized. Yesterday's got demonetized. But that football coach who's got 10 felonies pending. I've been talking about that stuff. Whitby Island girl, good to see you. So glad you are here. It's raining. I like a little rain. We don't see a lot of it here. Unpredictable Tony, good to see you. Glad that you're here. So very often when I come on and I do a show like that, that's kind of one that is discussing a whole lot of subjects. We jump from one subject to the next, and we do it in a way that if you're a content creator, you kind of have to be on your feet, because a question will come up about Diddy and a question will come up about something else, and someone will bring up a subject that we might talk about in the future. And then because of what my show is kind of based on, which has a lot to do with people turning their lives around, rehabilitation and such, if somebody pops up here and says something about drugs, then I'm going to roll right into that. And it keeps you jumping around. And we talk about this all the time. Public speaking is the #1 fear of people on planet Earth. Do you know why? Do you? It has nothing to do with the fact that they're afraid to get up and speak. That would actually be pretty simple, but that is not the case. It is actually, they're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of saying something and having the people in the crowd go, ooh, this person sucks. Rejection is one of the biggest fears that we have in life. And as a content creator, there are times that we put up with an awful lot of feces, right? We put up with a lot of people that don't like what you're doing, and they crap on what you're doing because, well, it pays the bills, right? I mean, this is a job as much as we do this for fun or whatever. It is what we do for work. And it's funny how often someone will say to me, yeah, that's not work. See, you have the easiest job in the world. You ought to give it a try. But I put up with a lot of things because I'm not trying to run people off, because when you run people off, you lose subscribers, you lose clicks, right? So over the years, I have knocked the edges off of a lot of who I am. But yesterday, if you happen to catch that live, if you didn't, then this is just going to be confusing. But there was a couple of times during that live where you saw me do something like this, right? Because I read something in the chat that pissed me off. And I read something in the chat that pissed me off to the point where it was hard to continue doing what I was doing. And as a public speaker, that sucks. As a content creator, that sucks. It's not an easy thing to cope with. And anybody that does what I do has had this experience, right? You know what? My cat is about to destroy something. Hold on one second. Get your happy butt down off of that. She's a good girl. I'm terribly sorry. She's a really good cat, but that is not someplace that she's allowed to be. So every once in a while, someone will do something. And I said a couple of times yesterday, I'm about to lose my shit, right? I got to a couple of points yesterday, and sorry to put you on blast, Johnny Scoville, but he was sitting right there, directly across from me. He's not right now. He's out jamming on a guitar. On the Run 22, good to see you. And Johnny Scoville said, sitting over there, you want me to axe this person? I'm editing the hell out of that, by the way. But what Johnny said was, you want me to axe this person? I said, no, right? I gave him this one. Right? Johnny and I communicate pretty well with eyes. But if you were watching, you probably saw me doing this one back and forth. At the very end of yesterday's channel, I ended by saying, between now and the next time I see you, put a little love in your heart. You know what I'm going to do, Johnny? I'm going to go get a hatchet. If you've been watching The Lifeboat for any length of time, you know that wrenches can get rid of people in my chat. That's why they have wrenches. But if I say I'm going to go get a hatchet, it's because I don't want somebody in my chat getting rid of that person. I'm going to get rid of that person. It's never comfortable. It's never fun. But hey, Cindy G, I assume you made it home. Thank goodness for that. How far is Costa Rica from you? It's a pretty good flight. It's not something that I'd be able to drive to. It's closer to Central America than it is where I am in South America. If you look at a map of South America and you look at the farmost western point that juts out into the ocean, that would be me. So that'll give you a pretty good idea of where we are on the run. If you just see the westernmost point, that is where I'm at. And I don't just mean the country, I mean where I'm at. Like, there it is. I can stick my head up right now and look out and see the beautiful, beautiful blue Pacific Ocean. So this happened yesterday a couple of times. And at the end of the show, I did hit someone with a hatchet. And I'm never, listen up very carefully, I'm never going to allow somebody in my chat to be nasty to someone else in my chat. Now, every once in a while, people make an error or a mistake, and I might go, hey, talk like that again, right? And see what happens. I've been saying that kind of crap for years since I started this channel, because sometimes we get in our feelings and we say things. That's understandable. But if it's just somebody that is going after somebody in my chat, whether that person in the chat's been here a week or been here 5 years, if you're the person doing it, I don't care if you've been here since I started, you're gone, right? This is not that place. But that being said, I'm sorry it happened too. But that being said, if the person you're going after is the person that I love, right? So Johnny Scoville would certainly be off limits. My son would certainly be off limits, right? Family, things like that. And the girl I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, if you shit on that girl, right, I'm going to get rid of you. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not going to say sorry. And I'm going to do it before I leave this computer screen, so nobody goes, oh, you know what? She probably told him. No one has to tell me anything. I have boundaries. And you know what's crazy is I spent a crap load of the last couple of months setting up those boundaries and talking to people about them ad nauseum. When you are here and you are in my chat, I love you. We can hang out, we can talk, we can go back and forth. I don't allow people into my life, right? We can talk and you can say, Tommy, how are you doing? How's Ecuador? I'll answer your questions all day long, right? But if you try to influence my life or you try to hurt people that I care about, I'm going to axe you. I'm going to do it with speed, and I'm going to do it without that much regret. And if you think that makes me a dick, if you go down the hall just past the water cooler on the left-hand side is the exit. I lost 4 people from after yesterday, and you know what? I am really not concerned about it. I'm sorry, I'm not. I took a massive pay cut changing how I do my channel, but I am rebuilding this in a way that is going to be safe for every single person here. Most importantly, this guy, right? I'm a heroin addict. Spent 30 years sticking needles in my arms 3 or 4 times a day, right? When I was speedballing, I was putting needles in my arm 3 or 4 times an hour. I'm never going to be that person again. You hear me? So nothing is ever going to threaten my serenity. And if you are that person, you will be gone. And I don't want anybody gone. So if you've got a hang up, my girl and I had a very public breakup. It was ugly. It was huge. It was nasty. If that's something that you can't graduate past, that's okay. I'm telling you right now that I do content with her, and there are people that watch the 2 of us who don't like me, but they keep it to themselves because they like the content, or there are people that are never going to forgive me for things that they think I've done. I'm cool with that too, right? But if you decide to flex and be a dick, right, or a bitch, depending on the situation, I assure you I'm going to get rid of you. There is no holy grail. There is no grandfathered in. There is no, I promise you, this is a boundary that I have set up that you can't dip your toe into. This isn't a comfortable conversation. I want to talk about Diddy. I want to talk about the stuff I do content on. My friend turned 42 today, right? So when this is over, I'm calling him. He is one of the 2 people that I talk to, right? I am proud of Will. Will is sober and he's killing it. And I started working with Will before I set these boundaries. And there wasn't anybody else I was working with one-on-one at the time. If there were, I probably would still be working with them because it's a really jacked up thing. If you're working with somebody, I was very much a sponsor to kind of a situation for Will. And Will be in my life for that reason. It's his happy birthday today to Will. If you remember him, he's been on the show a couple of times for interviews. Does content that's similar to what I'm doing. He's trying to He's trying to leave the earth a better place than he's found it. You've been saying them live for a while. Boundaries are very important. Boundaries are so much more than important. And as a guy that had a really messed up life, there was a long period of time where I wasn't very good at boundaries. John, good to see you. I was particularly bad at boundaries when it came to women, plain and simple. And it's because of some things that happened to me in my youth. I was really, really bad at boundaries. Well, I'm getting a freaking PhD in boundaries. I promise you I am. And there have been people who have said on other platforms, and there are people that have, this isn't healthy. You need people in your life. Oh, I have people in my life. I do. I have an amazing support crew like I've never had before. At least once a week, sometimes twice a week, I go out and hang out with 30 people, right? 36 people, 37 people who are all trying to make their lives better and get off of heroin, right? That's a beautiful thing for somebody like me, right? It really is. It's a beautiful thing for somebody like me. I feel bad that I've only recently established firm boundaries with respect to my channel. I should have done it years ago. You're right. But there's no handbook for this crap. You understand? And in order to make a living, what do you need? You need as many people in your chat as you possibly can. My record live feed was 83 or 8,700, something like that. I had said 89 and someone corrected me on it. But there was 8,000 people in my live chat, right? What's up, right? You're banging. I'd rather have 35 people in my chat and know that nobody here is going to be ugly. Good to see you, my brother. I'm glad you're here. Really, I am. So there isn't a handbook for YouTube. There's nobody that says, hey, let me explain this parasocial relationship thing. And I did shows on this because I thought I was setting up boundaries, right? So let me explain this in a way that I didn't last time because apparently I wasn't good at it, right? It's kind of important for me to set this up correctly. When we do this, you're looking at my eyes, although they're beady. I think my girl says they're rodent-like. They're small in the back of my head. I look a little like Squint Eastwood. I'm going to open them real wide for you. You see this? Those are my eyes. You can look into them when we're having a conversation, but I'm not seeing yours. If you fart around with people whose eyes I do stare into, I'm going to get rid of you. All right? This is uncomfortable, but I didn't do a good job at setting this up. When I said, hey, Hope Between the Dreams, good to see you, I said, I'm not going to allow people to reach out to me in such a way that they're a part of my life, which meant if you're sending me PayPals and you're sending them to me with a note this big, I'm not reading it. I'm sorry, I'm not. PayPals every single month, and they'll write a note that says, hey, this is for the guys at the halfway house. Fantastic. Or they'll say, hey, this is to support the channel or whatever. But if you're using it to get around I'm not going to be doing long conversations back and forth with people, especially people that want to insert themselves into my life in a way that's unhealthy, right? I'm not being disrespectful. I can have amazing relationships with people in the chat. I can. There are people in this chat that I love. I don't allow them to take up 2 hours of my life every day. And the reason that I don't is because when I started this channel, I had about 2 hours a day that were mine, and I'm not being funny. I would get messenger app rings at 3 o'clock in the morning of someone saying, I'm about to put a needle in my arm. And I started to believe that I had to save every single person on planet Earth. That is a wicked, unhealthy way to try to make a living. Really unhealthy. And I did help some people. And there were people I couldn't help. And they died. Some committed suicide, some overdosed. But we lost, I don't know, 15, 16, something like that. And every time it happened, I lost another chunk of my soul. And I would come on here with a tie on and I would cry. You can go back and watch the videos. If you see a video with me and I'm wearing a tie, we just lost somebody. And these were horrific experiences. Kevin Hawthorne, Lakeland, Florida, you are a good man. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That is a good man, people. Yeah, it was ugly. And the one that really got me was, and I've talked about this and I'm open as hell, and haters, pay attention. You're going to love this. They like making shorts about this. There was a woman that reached out to me, and she had to go and see her husband in court on a Monday morning. And that husband had raped her. And yeah, husbands can do that. This was a very physically abusive man. And in the email, she said, I just don't think I can go in there and do this. I realized that I have to in order to get this guy convicted of the things that he did, but I don't know that I can go face him. I think I'd rather be dead. I read that Monday morning at about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. She had already taken her life. And I don't know if you can imagine the kind of ass kicking you will do to yourself on that. And before any of you say it, because I appreciate it, it isn't my fault. It's not. And it isn't my responsibility to save people either. But I put myself into a position where that's what I was trying to do. Thank you, Monk. I did do some good. I mean, that one of the most beautiful things was when we were putting together the appeal for Q, we got 1,300 letters. And the number of people that said, if Q didn't save Tommy, then I'd still be using drugs. It was absolutely amazing, right? It really was. It was absolutely amazing. And my girl is right. Hope, we have really missed you, babe. I hope that you are doing okay. Still praying, right? Yukon Pregnelius, there you are. You know what? This is, if I'm not mistaken, third or fourth holiday season with us. Good to see you, Yukon. I'm glad you're here. And I hope everyone gets the Yukon Pregnelius reference. I still do good. I do. I'm very happy with what I do. In fact, these days I'm happier with it. Because the people that I go out and work with, I work with one-on-one, and I look them in the eyes. And there's a connection there that I didn't have the ability to do online. And nevertheless, I treated it as if I had the ability to reach somebody through a computer screen or through a 2 a.m. phone call in a way that I can do sitting and talking to someone. I can't. I can't. It's not realistic. So Will is a great example. Will is a guy that is absolutely wanting to do what I used to do. And I've told him about the pitfalls of it. And you know what? When you're young and you're idealistic, right? He just turned 42. He's still a young man. You're young and you're idealistic and you haven't had your teeth kicked in. One of the other deaths that was tough was a guy that I loved, and I knew it was coming. I had said to him, you're buying Fent on the street. He was in the only place in North America where he went to a methadone clinic and they were taking him up 2 milligrams at a time. They used to take you up 30 milligrams at a time. But it was taking them so long to get to a dose where this guy didn't need to supplement that with other dope that I knew we were going to lose him, because he was in a part of the country that had, it wasn't just Fent, right? It was Fent cut with xylazine. He was doing Trank. And we had just these unbelievable conversations. And his grandmother was just the sweetest woman I've ever met. And I love the family. I really do. I love the family. And I was sitting in church and I looked down and saw the phone ring, and I knew what this call was going to be. And I almost quit. In fact, if it wasn't for my friend turning 42 years old today, I never would have gone back on YouTube, because it wasn't just someone that I had worked with one-on-one. I had spent hundreds of hours working with this guy one-on-one. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. But it almost killed me. And I have since decided that I would put up boundaries. That was the first step. I had decided I wasn't going to work one-on-one with anyone ever again. I worked with women one-on-one who then came out and made videos with my haters and said, hey, he sent a video of himself rubbing one out to me. My response was, post it. Go ahead, put a little black box over it, but post it. The whole world will know what I'm doing, because it wasn't real. But it doesn't have to be real to destroy you, right? There are people who are going to be watching this show today who have said unbelievably ugly things about me. This afternoon, who make shows about me. That's the reality of this world. And you know what? I don't give a shit, because I don't listen to anything anyone says anymore. So if you're one of those people that wants to destroy your heart with hate, knock yourself out, right? Go do whatever you do. But if you do it in my chat, don't be shocked when you are gone forever. And you know what? One of the beautiful things is when you're gone forever, you're gone forever. My biggest haters still have their comments up from the first times that they said, I love you, Tommy. This is the greatest show on YouTube. You're changing my life. That doesn't work anymore. Now when you block someone, because YouTube has evolved, now when you block someone, every single comment they ever left disappears. You erase them from your history, right? Kathy, I hope you're getting ready to go play some music. Kathy is a talented musician. If you haven't gone and checked her out, you should. The woman has skill, really has skill. Can we get some thoughts and prayers, folks? Reese, I'm okay. Just hard with the first holidays without my parents and dealing with my own health challenges and taking care of my boyfriend, who is paralyzed also. Been exhausted, to be honest. We need thoughts and prayers, right? Hope between the dreams. This is when this channel is at its best, is when people support one another. Cindy G says, I love the fact that you keep your chat safe for all of us, and that includes you too. Thank you. I appreciate that. And people try to skirt that stuff, right? People leave sly comments. People say things that are intended to hurt, but they know that they can get away with it, right? Some people call it passive aggressive or whatever. Let me make this really clear to everyone, just in case nobody ever gets it. New material next week. Make sure you stop by and check that out. Hit a subscribe if you haven't. She is a very, very talented musician and served in our military. I have a lot of respect for that. I am not a real captain, so I do have a lot of respect for the people that served. Yeah. And you know what? Come by for connection, because I promise you it really does make a difference. Is it the same as sitting in a room with someone? Absolutely not. It is not. It isn't. But it's better than being alone. Right? Sharing a drink they call loneliness. It's absolutely better than drinking alone. And this kind of connection gets people through the holidays. A lot of emails from people that said, you know what, man? The only people I talked to during the holiday season were in the lifeboat. There are people who suffer from illnesses where they literally can't leave their houses, right? They're agoraphobic. They can't go outside. That is agoraphobic, right? Yeah, they can't go outside. There are people who are shut-ins for certain health reasons, and this is the only connection for some people. If someone wants to come in here and leave sly comments, I have a girl. Most people know this. I have a channel with her. So if you leave a comment that says, Tommy, you really need to go get yourself an Ecuadorian girl, and you've seen 40 of my shows, you're just doing that to be a shithead, right? And that's just, I'm not going to take this kind of unkindness, right? Just act like adults, man. It's not, honestly, it's not a stretch. And I'm preaching to people, right, who aren't here listening. They're going to catch it later. The people who are in my chat live today, these aren't the people that are an issue, because I haven't seen any of their names. But they're going to see this later, which is why I'm doing this. Because apparently when I did this 4 other times, and once with my girl on our channel, which is a great channel, by the way, if you've never gone over there. Nikki Thomas, good to see you. What do you think will happen with America and Venezuela? That's a great question. P. Taylor, good to see you. But that's rude. How dare they do that to Squirrel? Cindy G, that's funny. And you see, she says, just kidding. Right? Okay, so I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think that Maduro runs a country that is a narco state. They do everything within their power to flood the United States with dope. This isn't a shocker to most people, right? I get comments from people that go, what if that boat that they blew up was a fishing boat? I don't think you guys have ever deep dived any of this, the people leaving those comments. We have satellites that will allow you to read the date on a dime from space. We have AWACS planes that we send up there where we literally, in most cases, know who the people on the boats are, much less what they're doing. They've got massive bales of dope. These aren't boats where they're stashing stuff down below. They're fast boats that are transporting huge amounts of drugs. And what happens is that part of the world, well, you're good to go in the ocean until you start getting up by our border. If you can stop that dope from getting anywhere near our border. So they're blowing these boats up, right? And in the process, a lot of these people are getting killed. Oh no, right? A lot of these drug pushers are getting blown up and killed. Oh no, I don't care. I don't. Every single friend I have has overdosed and died. I've got one friend left that drugs has not killed, right? From my days in the game. I don't mean current friends, but from back when I was doing this, they're all gone. They're all gone. And they're gone because dope got into the country. And if you're a cynic, you can go, yeah, well, if they weren't doing dope, how many people who are addicted to dope in the United States got addicted to OxyContin, right? Because the bullshitters at Pomfret and all of the literature that came out said 4% of people that take this get addicted to it. 4%? You ever play roulette? I'd take anything on 4% odds. Got a 4% chance of killing me? I'd let you shoot at me at 50 feet at $100 a shot if you only had a 4% chance of killing me. That's not good numbers, right? It really isn't. But that isn't even close to the truth. And when they told the people, this is not Tommy making this up, these are facts. Sitting in a meeting, a board meeting, when they said, hey, that number ain't 4%. It's closer to like 26%. The guy that ran the company went, really? I thought it would have been higher than that, right? The Sacklers and the people that did this don't have a soul, right? By the way, the people saying about fishing boats, Tommy, with infrared technology, they can read, yep, this is absolutely a fact, right? They can read a stamp, and those are go fast boat, not fishing boats. They are so expensive, only the cartels can afford them. Fact. And you know something? This may come as a shock to you, but the Central Intelligence Agency, I promise you they're down there. They're telling the military what boats are leaving and when. That's what we do with those huge budgets. Anywhere where we want information before we can get it, we send the Central Intelligence Agency. And it ain't going to be somebody that looks like me, right? It's going to be somebody with brown skin that speaks perfect Spanish who's going to be working the docks or doing whatever, and they're going to leak information. And that's how we do what we do. Now, if you happen to live in Venezuela, there's an immigration problem in our country from Venezuelans. And you can't blame them because they need to get out of that country. You know, the guy who runs it says, hey, everyone in the country is getting ready to join the military. Man, woman, and child, we're going to put a gun in your hand. The man is an absolute tyrant and a dictator. And I don't care what Sean Penn or any other lefty from Hollywood wants to tell you. This isn't a paradise. It used to be. They have enough oil reserves and beef to live perfectly. But it's a whole lot easier just slinging dope, right? And enriching yourself. The drugs at this point are absolutely out of control. The biggest threat to planet Earth right now is the computer and drugs. Birth rates are at an all-time low. We are in more danger from not having enough people on this globe and going extinct than we are from having too many. They can bullshit you all you want. And when people go, it's so overcrowded. I was a public speaker, spent a hell of a lot of time on airplanes. I have taken the red eye from California to New York. If I had $1 for every time, I could skip this show, right? We go out and get something to eat. A lot of those flights. And I did most of them, right? Red eye, middle of the night. Look out the window. You see lights 4 times on that 6-hour flight. For real. The rest of the time, you see nothing because there are little population centers in the U.S., but the vast majority of U.S. land has nobody living on it. In fact, a couple of years back, I don't know if this statistic still holds up, but a couple of years back when I researched this, they said you could take every single person on planet Earth and put them all in Rhode Island, and every one of them would have 6 feet to live in. We are in more danger from not having enough kids. And one of the reasons is half the planet's whacked on dope. The other reason is we build an ideal in the heads of 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-old kids who are growing up that is so unrealistic. Girls should look like Jessica Rabbit. Their boobs ought to be this big. They should be pointing at the ceiling whether there's a bra on or not. Their inseam should be 80 inches. Their hips should be this wide and their waist this big. They don't exist, right? And the few that do are making films that are foul as hell, and it builds in ideals. Incels, do you remember this? Incels? When growing up were there people that just went, I can't get laid, I hate women? This is a real thing now, right? There are these groups of people that just hate women because they can't get a relationship that will turn sexual. Lack of connection is a disease that's going to destroy this planet. For real. So if the president of the United States starts shooting down planes over Venezuela, oh no, I don't think he's going to be shooting down planes full of tourists, right? Our military is nothing if not pretty good. And if these planes are transporting dope, oh no, right? That's a war, right? We're being attacked by chemicals. That's chemical warfare. The number one cause of death in our country is people overdosing. That's war. We are being wildly attacked. You don't need one of these to attack somebody. Now, you might want one of those to fight back. How do you fight somebody who doesn't shoot at you, just poisons your children? You kill them. Sorry, not sorry. Not even a little bit. The problem is everyone is coming to America. It's because it's a country should thrive. All jobs and bad parents and no education available. Hey, all bad guys. Here's the thing. We celebrate bad guys, right? We do. The music, the movies. Tell me a movie where we don't celebrate bad guys. Fast and Furious. Right? You got guys robbing banks, and even the cops turn bad guys in it, right? Die Hard, he was a cop. Come on, he was a good guy. He blew up buildings. He shot people. Every character that we show little girls is a bad guy. And then we go, I wonder why girls like bad dudes. We have been programming people consistently for decades. When I was a kid, what people found beautiful is no longer what people find beautiful because they start doing this one, right? They start changing it, and it's not normal. What somebody finds attractive should be what somebody finds attractive. Instead, they have someone who tells them what they find attractive. I saw a thing on YouTube where they're talking about, they were highlighting 2 divers and 2 gymnasts. And they were saying, are these girls too thick for the sport? Are they watering down the sport because they're allowing larger people to do this? China is imposing a new 13% tax on contraceptives to try to boost its declining birth rate. That's because, Nikki Thomas, those geniuses in China had a one-child policy, right? They also are not Christian. They're not Muslim. They have a very odd kind of a belief system, odd to us on this part of the world. I'm not bagging on it, but very often they kind of pray to ancestors. They wait for their ancestors. So there's this male domination in that society. And also, as you get older, the male son is going to take care of you. So they used to have mobile vans that would come out and do a scan, right? And if it was a female baby that you had in there, they would abort it. So you're only allowed to have one kid, and you're aborting most of the female ones. Gee, what could possibly go wrong? Also, they're not much into, I'm not being, go ahead and hate me for this, but there's not a whole lot of marrying outside of the race, having kids outside the race. So now, all of the products that China manufactures, they have to sell. You see, if you ever read Milton Friedman, he would explain that if you don't have a certain number of kids per household, then you don't have enough people to buy the goods and services that you produce. Now, if you happen to live someplace where you have board, China is having a very difficult time right now, and they are in deep trouble because of what they had done. Their policies for a long time has really screwed them up, right? I think really screwed them up. So yes, I'm not surprised at all that they're going to put a tax on contraceptives. Yeah, you know what? It's so if you just got here, the purpose of today's show was to say this. And if you weren't here yesterday, then maybe you didn't catch this. And it went on through almost the entire show. And a couple of times I was like, I'm going to lose my shit in a minute. Like it was taking me so far off of topic. And I worked as a public speaker. I would have live people heckle me. But these people were going after somebody I loved. They weren't going after me. And it made it an uncomfortable show. It's been a long time since I did an uncomfortable show. And there was a period of time there where I continued to do this, even though every show was uncomfortable, right? I'm never going to do an uncomfortable show again. The only reason I didn't have that person axed 10 minutes into the show was because I didn't want them going, oh, so-and-so got rid of me. My brother was sitting there going like this, like, let me do this. And no. If you watch my show from yesterday, it ended with me saying, you know what I'm going to do, Johnny Scoville? I'm going to go get a hatchet. That's never going to happen in my chat. If you're one of those people that likes to beat on others, you're not going to do it here. You're not going to do it here. And I'm not going to apologize. And if somebody goes, oh, but that was so-and-so, I don't give even a half of a shit. It's never going to be that place, man. There isn't going to be snarkiness. There isn't going to be passive aggressiveness. There isn't going to be any of that garbage. We all get upset. First time you do it, I'll time you out for a minute, right? But if this is something that is a pattern, and this had become a pattern, and it was somebody that literally in a comment said, well, I've been here longer than you, to the woman that I'm going to marry. Probably not a great idea. And it was just ugliness, and it's never going to happen in my chat. So if by some chance you missed the first 9 freaking memos, you might want to catch this one, right? It isn't going to be tolerated. You know what, hun? This is about me, not you. Reese said to me, that person didn't need to be blocked. Well, on your show, you can make those decisions. This person needed to be blocked. It bothered me. And I'm sitting in front of the camera. I'm the one that has to kind of do this show. And Reese is a content creator, right? Today, there will be 5 or 6 videos shitty made about the both of us. We get pretty good at getting thick skin, but we don't allow it to happen in the chat for a reason. It screws with the audience being able to have a good time. My show last night sucked. I don't like doing shows that suck. I don't like getting to an end of a show and going, that was awful, right? And you do 3,000 of these puppies, like there's 4,000 hours or something of me talking on YouTube. There's some really bad shows in there. But if it's a really bad show, I don't want it to be because somebody else made it a bad show. If my research sucks, or if I jump on the Diddy train too hard and start believing that he's sacrificing babies at midnight, all right, that's on me. But I'm not going to allow somebody in my chat to screw up one of my shows. It's not going to happen. Sorry, not sorry. Thank you, Cindy G. I think most people agree with me. Yeah, you know something, Hope? I think she said this better than I could. And Reese says, you're right. Plus, it's your channel, and I respect that. Yeah, and I don't tell Reese how to run her channel, right? But one of the reasons I didn't want to wrench taking that person out is because it was an entitled human being. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And I went out of my way, right, to allow this person to have, conservatively speaking, at least 2 more chances than needed to happen. I like to laugh on this channel, right? And I like to do research for people that may not have the time to do research, because there's a lot of BS out there on a lot of the stuff that we talk about, right? I dislike the wrinkles it causes Tommy. Only laugh lines. That's right, right? It's a lot better if I'm not doing this one. But that's not going to happen anymore. And I felt like this person had pushed my boundaries about 100 times. And I will allow people to push my boundaries in a lot of ways. But when the nasty is aimed at somebody else, they're gone. And if it sounds like I'm reiterating this, it's because I'll get an email and I'll not read it, but I'll get it through someone else. This person will contact someone else and say, but, no. Get it real clear. There's no coming back. There's no, oh my God, I'm sorry. Hey, I didn't get that. This is as clear as I can freaking make it. There isn't going to be any ugliness in my chat, man. There just isn't going to be ugliness in my chat. No matter how you church it up, how you dress it, it's never going to happen. Capiche? I'm sure everybody gets it. And I am going to be doing a show later on tonight. It will be a better show. I may have to go back and redo some of the stuff because I had a lot I wanted to talk about last night. But once I start thinking about getting a hatchet, I'm not flowing in the way that I want to flow as a content creator. Yeah, somebody pushed my buttons too many times. It's exactly what it is, David. And at some point you get to a place where you just go, that's not going to happen anymore. And that was last night. And there are going to be people who are going to be bummed out about that. I think it's absolutely a bang up job. That documentary, I wanted to hate it. That's the wrong way to put it. I expected to hate it. I expected to find the 50 Cent documentary a hit piece that had a lot of opinion and not a lot to back it up, because that's been the Diddy case. I was that guy. All of us were that guy. Instead, I absolutely will be doing that. I promise, Cindy G, it's coming. He absolutely did nothing of the sort, right? What he did was he took a story, and I talked about this on a show the other day. I know the Diddy story, right? And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but for God's sakes, I spent thousands of hours on this. I don't know how many people know it as well as I do. I really studied this dirtbag, right? But what 50 Cent did was took all of the stories that most of us have heard and put it in a way that made sense in sort of a chronological order, so that it was done differently than everyone else had done it. And he brought receipts. And by that, I mean, we heard the Kirk Burroughs stories. I did shows on Kirk Burroughs. I may have even been on a panel that he was on. If I wasn't, I may have been. But Kirk Burroughs had a lot to say, right? The way 50 Cent did it, Kirk Burroughs is opening up his journals and his appointment books, and he's got receipts. Here are messages back and forth. Here are handwritten notes. There were receipts throughout that entire documentary. I think that the thing that came out of there the most that really got my attention was just how badly that jury was tainted. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the documentary, but the jury was just tainted. And I have a really strong suspicion that the feds are probably looking into that jury. Now, would that get it overturned? Probably not. It's very, very difficult to get a decision overturned once it's happened, but it could get Diddy more time for buying the jury. I mean, that's what absolutely could happen. And you know something? He was going out of his way when he was at MDC Brooklyn to try to screw with the witnesses. The reason that he didn't get out on bail wasn't because he was black. They're like, well, the white guy got out on bail. The white guy was 80 and had dementia. I'm referring to the guy that worked for Abercrombie and Fitch. Very different case. Had nothing to do with race. The reason Diddy didn't get out on bail, even if he offered 120 million or 200 billion, read the opinion from Judge Roon Subramanian. And what he said was, you can't trust this guy on the street with a case coming, because he's going to mess with the people who could be jurors. He's going to mess with the people that could be witnesses. This is a guy that can't be trusted to not try to screw with the legal system. This documentary really makes you wonder if somebody screwed with the jury. And they don't make those accusations. They just let the juror talk. And you watch these people talk and you go, this doesn't make sense. This simply doesn't make sense. And on top of that, the stuff that Little Rod highlighted in this. There's also some stuff about Tupac and Diddy. It's nothing I hadn't heard before, but the way that they put it, I've always said, there's no doubt in my mind. Pete Taylor, I like doing streams with Johnny. We're going to be doing some stuff here. There's no doubt in my mind that he had a connection in some way or another to Biggie's death and to Tupac's death. No doubt in my mind. There just isn't. Now, it's not enough to say that, right? Because that's just my opinion. I think Curtis 50 Cent Jackson did a pretty good job of putting some stuff out there that is reasonable doubt I mean, when you hear it, you go, oh, it's far more likely. The preponderance of evidence would say it's far more likely that Diddy was involved in those killings than not involved in those killings. But that is not a criminal threshold, right? That's a civil lawsuit threshold, preponderance of evidence, better than 50% chance. We need beyond a reasonable doubt. And you're dealing with police in LA. And if you're an LA cop, you can send me a mean email. I'm not going to read it anyway. But the LA PD has been corrupt for so long, it's terrifying. And I'm not saying this out of my ass. Just go do a little reading and look up the Rampart scandal, right? Or Mark Furman, right? Mark Furman goes on CNN. He goes on Fox, and he's a great opinion on stuff. He's also a guy that bragged in a book about taking black guys into the basement and beating them with hoses until they confessed. Right? That's jacked. LA has been really, really messed up, and its proximity to fame makes it even more screwed up. Do you understand? It's really messed up, and I don't have a lot of faith in it. So, but I think the documentary is going to open some doors for people to look at Diddy closer. Now, LA, their Special Victims Unit, is already investigating a rape case on Diddy. That's real. That's happening. But there's a lot of other stuff that's going to start coming out because of all of these things. And we also have to keep in mind that there are about 100 lawsuits. That's according to the documentary. I can only find about 77 when I do the research, but let's call it 100 for the sake of arguing. 50's probably got better research than I do. But let's call it 100. Every one of those has a potential to be another Cassie Ventura, right? Diddy's legal problems started right after the prosecution. I mean, right after they filed the lawsuit in the Cassie Ventura case. That lawsuit caused all of the criminal charges that came. Every one of these other lawsuits has the potential to do that, because if the lawsuit gets into court and this stuff becomes public record and somebody goes, hey, wait a second. This happened how long? This is within the statute of limitations. This happens constantly. This is a dude that's got 100 of these cases pending. What are the odds that one of them doesn't cause more criminal action? And now the guy's got priors. Now he's already been in prison for something. And the world, it's hard finding people that still believe Diddy. They're out there, right? The Kool-Aid drinkers still exist, but it is a small segment of the population, and it got smaller when this documentary dropped. #1 in 18 countries. Squirrel on zipper. What you doing there, princess? Tommy, have you seen the documentary on the prison system in Alabama? I think it's HBO Max. Been told it's as real as it gets. I get night terrors, so I haven't seen it myself, but I hear it's superb. No, I have read the reviews on it. I have not seen it yet, but by way of full disclosure, there are very few prison systems that are perfect. That one's jacked. Everybody that I ever met in the feds that was from Alabama just said people in Alabama would rather go to the feds. In most states, that's not the case. Alabama has a very rugged, tough prison system. Come here, SNZ. Look what I got. Huh? Tell me that's not a happy-looking cat. She knows she's on camera. She's a pro. Stares right at the camera. She's nothing if not a professional. But if they ran a camera into any prison and ran it for a long period of time, you'd have a hard time sleeping. I mean it. Even lower level, not camps, but even like FCI lows or level 2 and 3 yards, people fight. You get that much testosterone in one place. You get that many people together. You're going to run into people that are going to beat the crap out of one another. You're going to run into people that do bad things. That said, it would be boring for 90% of what you watched, because prison, and I say this all the time, right? You're probably getting tired of hearing it, but prison is the most boring place on earth until it isn't. And once it's no longer boring, it's terrifying. It is a great looking cat, is it not? And she's about to beat up on her sister. You guys can catch this live. Hold on one second. Look at this. See, she knows she's doing something. Oh, isn't that sweet? She's giving Squirrel Nut Zipper a big hug. Gives you an idea how much bigger she is than Squirrel, though. She's absolutely massive, that cat. Squirrel's going to get upset in a minute and attack her. But she usually will take a good cleaning. If you want, check out my channel. I got some shorts going up of them fighting, because we film them fighting just about all day long. They love each other, for the record. Every once in a while, someone will leave a comment and be like, oh, it's so sad for Squirrel. Squirrel loves her. I'm telling you, the two of them have a great time. All right, people, this wasn't going to be a long one. I just needed to reestablish boundaries, because it was somewhat shocking, some of the people that didn't get it. Great looking cat, to be sure. And Johnny's is a very attractive cat. She's worthless compared to Squirrel, but she is a very attractive cat, Katy Perry. And maybe in 2 or 3 years, you know, she'll get better. We'll have to see. Alabama is rough in general, to be honest. Well, it's also, you know, some of the really old prison systems are just tough. Yeah, some people can't read the room. That's a pretty good comment to end on. I might leave that up there. And I get to look at my girlfriend. All right, people. Between now and the next time I see you, which is going to be in I don't know, 6 hours or so. Hey, when you come back, if you happen to run into Will, do call him an old man. He is, after all, an old man. 42 today. Can you believe that stuff? Good Lord, man. Thank you, David Booley. I appreciate you. You're very kind. Reese, I'll talk to you later. Johnny, you as well. Squirrel Nut Zipper, get in the basket. Between now and the next time I see you, put a little love in your heart. And you know what? Be kind to the people in my chat. If not, it's going to be one of those Houdini things. I promise you, you'll just disappear. I'm Tommy. I will see you on the next one. God bless.